Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day to the lecturer, Dr. Jaya Velu, and viewers. My name is Nur Shahira Shazwani binti Sarjan, a postgraduate student currently in semester 2 of Master's degree in Educational Management under the Faculty of Education and Social Sciences in Open University, Malaysia. I am currently working as a primary school teacher and I reside in Kuching, Sarawak. As a requirement for educational psychology assignment, we are tasked to come up with a 10 minutes presentation in regards to the theme chosen in the first part of the assignment. As for me, I have chosen Constructivism as the theme that I would personally and widely use in my teaching and learning process. This is because I believe that each one of us have the capability to learn and utilize our knowledge with little input given, as long as we have the prior knowledge on the matter. This is echoed by Vygotsky, a well-known educator, psychologist, and theorist who believed that children developed their potential via enculturation into their environment's ethos and norms. Their higher mental functions result mainly from this process, and he believed that the vital foundation of this process is formal education. The child within the space of formal education and under the assistance of instructor or experts on the learning content will have the opportunities to receive perfect psychological tools that will assist him in organizing and reorganizing his mental functions. As one of the founding theorists of Constructivism among Piaget and Brunner, who remarked on Vygotsky's opinion regarding development and theory of education, he addressed that learning process comes first before the developmental process, because he believed that pedagogy creates learning processes that will lead to development in later stages. Brunner elaborated, students can comprehend the primary ideas and concepts of any learning subjects at any age level, as long as they are taught and guided properly. In order for them to be taught properly, teachers need to be able to apply the constructivist principles in their classroom. This is how they could achieve effective teaching and improve students' learning process, subsequently achieving meaningful knowledge construction in their students. In Constructivism, the process of learning is a concerned matter. Teachers need to understand and accept that learning is not a passive acceptance of knowledge solely, and that learners are active and vital entity in the process of thinking and learning. Learners need to be encouraged to steer their own learning. Learners are the key player, and they should be able to pose inquiries after inquiries to help themselves build meaning and concept of the learning content. They should be encouraged to use their critical thinking. Posing inquiries and looking for answers on their own would help them to nurture their own thinking process and furthermore help them to be more active in their own learning. They relate with their prior knowledge and interpret situation accordingly. Teachers should recognize that knowing itself is a process and not a byproduct. For example, when teachers are giving tasks to the students for them to solve, the learning outcome is not so much for them to get the correct answers or to do it by the textbook. It is actually for the teachers to observe their thinking process and the progression in how they solve the problem using their own alternatives. Teachers should encourage them to take out their thinking hat and observe as the invisible light bulb on top of their head lights up. In this process, the teacher is mainly the facilitator, the one who provokes them to think and tempts them to inquire, but not as the sole content provider and most significantly, not as authoritative figure. For Constructivism, meaningful instruction is a vital aspect for development. Children can be brought to next level of cognitive via thorough guidance and meaningful instruction. This is, as discussed by Vygotsky on zone of proximal development, or in short ZPD, whereby exists difference in achievement in terms of what the students can do on their own and what they can achieve with the help and facilitation from teachers. Teachers should be able to observe the limit in students' ability to solve tasks based on the 3 levels of ZPD: task achievable, task achievable but requires assistance, and unachievable tasks. It does contradict the fact that constructivism focuses on students as the active learner and teacher as facilitator only. But teachers should understand that there are skills or concepts that the child might find too difficult, and they perhaps do not have any prior knowledge on that. And in order to understand or solve tasks related to this, they would need guidance and encouragement from knowledgeable figures such as their teachers or their high achiever peers. Teachers are to model or demonstrate first before letting the students do tasks of learning content that is new to them and they have no prior knowledge of. For example, in a round-robin reading activity, the student might not know how to pronounce certain English words that might be unknown to them. Therefore, the teacher should provide support in pronouncing the words correctly to help them. Teachers should be able to find the limit or boundaries in providing scaffold as so not to give too much assistance that will hinder their thinking process, but also to not let the student on their own without any scaffolding process because of assumption that the students can achieve it. Learning is a social activity, and this is major component in constructivism. In teaching and learning process, audio-visual method only retain 20% of percentage of the learning content, whereas discussion group will retain 50% and practice by doing ought to retain 75% of the learning content. However, the immediate use of content learned by teaching others help learners to retain the content by 90%. Teachers have a duty to construct and plan learning activities that comprises of group activities and peer coaching to ensure most of the students in the class are able to achieve meaningful learning experience. For example, in activities that involve grouping such as chain writing, think, pair, share, brainstorming on topic, hot seat, and etc., the students are talking with their members and sharing their opinions and views. This does not only build their self-esteem but also help them to construct a frame of thinking and to build a professional way to voice out their opinion either academically or personally. Along the way, not only that, the students will be able to cultivate their language skill and enable them to use the learning content. The local environment and circumstances that the students can relate play a vital role in constructing the students' knowledge. When the students are able to make relation of the learning content with their daily life or experiences, they can build and share personal interpretation based on those knowledge. The teacher have to plan the teaching and learning according to the students' exogenous, endogenous, and dialectical factors. The exogenous factor is their exposure to the world, and this can be observed through their experiences. As for the endogenous factor, their prior knowledge or the knowledge that they had acquired previously would influence their learning. Last but not least, their dialectical factor that influences their learning process is their interactions with their culture and rearing environment. Teachers should be aware of these factors and to use stimulus or learning content that adhere to these influences so that the students are able to make relation and furthermore actively participate in the teaching and learning process. To give example about snowboarding as a top sport when teaching students in a classroom in Malaysia will be questionable. Although there might be some who had experienced the sport due to their holiday trips to European countries sponsored by their wealthy parents. But for the rest of the class, they might not be able to relate and could not participate much with their opinions or thoughts. Therefore, it is crucial for the teachers to be selective and to consider stimulus and teaching aids that will help the students to participate actively in the learning. Teachers must make sure that teaching aids do their purpose and to enable majority of the class to narrate their prior knowledge and experiences to the learning content. Constructivism mainly focuses on the students as active learner and that they participate actively to generate meaning and understanding of the knowledge that they are served by making a meaningful relation to their previous experience or prior knowledge. Teachers act as an external force that uses various techniques and methods to assist students in stimulating their personal responses towards the content of the learning. Teachers also work as their guidance and facilitator that will provoke their thinking to help them explore their thinking ability and skills to solve problems and complete tasks. With this, I hope my explanation is adequate and as adhered to the requirement of the task. Thank you for your time.